Hello, everybody. It is Monday, uh, May 5th, 2025, 7:06 p.m. EST, and you're watching the Dovecote episode 67 with Jess Levine. Uh, Jess, say hi and tell folks who you are.
Yeah, hi. I am Jess Levine. Some people might know me as Jess from online on a lot of different websites, online. I make tabletop role-playing games like I Have the High Ground, Planet Fist, and Going Rogue. And I'm also just about to be crowdfunding Galactic and Going Rogue, which is my friend Riley and I putting two games with the same system in one book. You'll hear me talk about that a lot today. I'm also a sci-fi author, music producer. I do a lot of different things, but games is the big one.
Hell yeah. I'm I'm sending your links for those who don't already know you, which I feel like I've said your name a couple times in probably on this show,
Yes.
uh, because I really like the things that you make. You're a really good friend, and I'm particularly very excited for the thing that you recently announced, which you were very nice to tell me about uh, before it even happened. Um,
Yes, you get the extra special preview that now some of your viewers will be getting.
Yeah. If you'd like to, please pitch folks on uh, pitch folks on a Galactic and Going Rogue. For those who don't already know about, I suppose either game.
Yes. So Galactic and Going Rogue. First of all, would you be able to drop a link actually to the Kickstarter just in case anyone wants visuals for the things that I'm
I
saying? I can pass
did.
that to you if
I can
that's. Oh, the
also,
Kickstarter page? Oh yeah, you
yeah.
did. You already got that. Nicely done. Thank you.
You're
Also,
welcome.
hi Rhiannon in the chat, who will be
Yo,
on this project actually, which I think the first anyone will be hearing about that will be today. I'll say more about what Rhi is doing later. But what are these games in general? So Galactic and Going Rogue are Galactic itself is a game by Riley Rethel, and it is a game of rebellion, relationships, and war among the stars. And as one might guess from Riley's tongue-in-cheek tagline there, War Among the Stars is because it's a Star Wars-inspired game. Specifically, Riley's game is inspired by the trilogies, the main Star Wars trilogies, and the ways that they focus on these charming but flawed heroes and the relationships between them. And that's the element of Star Wars that I think Riley really captures well in Galactic, which is focusing on these very human and messy relationships. Like almost every playbook in it has an ex, an ex girlfriend or whatever, who can be one of your NPC relationships. But yeah, it really brings that aspect forward. And it is a GM-less game. It is using the belonging outside belonging system, which folks might know from Avery Alder's Dream Askew, Dream Apart. Avery Alder and Benjamin Rosenbaum. Dream Askew, Dream Apart established belonging outside belonging. The one most people have heard of is Wander Home is also belonging outside belonging. So it uses that system. Though Riley has done some really cool innovations on top of it. Gonna get uh, deep into the weeds here for a second, and just for all the BOB heads out there, um, the setting elements called pillars actually participate in the token economy. And so when the world acts upon you or takes an action, when you embody the setting, it's also using the same tokens and handing them around, which was a really cool innovation that Riley did. um, but that's me getting very in the weeds. That's Galactic, and I love Galactic. My first game of Galactic, me and the three others, it was like early COVID lockdown, and we got so obsessed with that game that we wrote 150,000 words of short fiction in the universe outside of the sessions between the four of us. We were just prolific. Ree was actually one of those people, Ree in chat. I love the game. And when Riley announced a game jam for it, I decided for the release of the second edition, I decided I wanted to make an expansion, originally an expansion, because I loved the charming but flawed heroes of Galactic, but my favorite Star Wars was and is Going Rogue. Well, I guess now it's Andor, but my
Mhm.
favorite Star Wars movie is Going Rogue. And so
Rogue One.
I
Rogue
was
One
like,
is what you mean. I just
oh,
realized.
I
It's
that's
okay.
okay. So many people I know do this. It's much more embarrassing when I do it because it feels so conceited.
It's so real
But you
though.
say the words enough, yeah. I've like Googled for it and gotten the wrong one. I have occasionally Googled for Going Rogue and searched Rogue One, but mostly the opposite. Anyway, the movie Rogue One is my favorite Star Wars. So I was like, I want a version of this system that's good at telling the stories of like troubled martyrs instead of charming heroes. Um, and that's where Going Rogue came from. It was also deeply processing my like experiences with street anti-fascist action that I was like during the first Trump administration that was very active for me at the time, and participation in anarchist and communist organizing and all of that I wanted to process through games. And that would actually turn out to be my first game. So Going Rogue, I like to say, is a game about cynicism, hope, and the ultimate sacrifice, in which everyone who's playing knows that their player characters are going to die at the end of the campaign. And usually that's like a one shot or like a 3 session run. And so you play in the dramatic irony of knowing these characters are going to give their lives in this fight against space fascism,
Mhm.
but you're playing to find out why would they become willing to do that? Because it intentionally starts you out as these very cynical or loner characters inspired by Rogue One characters, and you have to figure out what is it that connects them to this fight enough that they're willing to give their lives for it. And I've done a lot of things to like seed that ground in there. But anyway, that was originally an expansion and then became a hack that was its own game. And then Riley and I got to talking. And we were like, what if we just put these two games in one book and sold it that way? And I'm very excited to say that after years of discussion, we are finally making that happen. Um, Going Rogue, both games have been out for a while, the previous editions. And Going Rogue actually won the Crit Awards 2023 Best GMless Game of the Year, which I was incredibly honored by. And it is really exciting that this crowdfunder means not only will we be able to put Galactic and Going Rogue in the same book and like do an updated edition with some like design tweaks and better like teaching text, but also all new art. Previously, it was just like black and white public domain art occasionally. All new full color layout, which like Riley and I did
Mhm.
the layout ourselves, and
Hmm.
it is nothing at the moment, and it is now going to be gorgeous. Yes, you can see Woshi, our layout artist, is like he has blown me away with what
It's
he's
so
done.
cool.
You can see, yeah, like oh my god, the GIF there is showing like a bunch of different pages from it, and it's so cool to see your own work come to life in a way that you never could have done on your own.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's really exciting. So we'll get to have that layout, and
You are
then
the
a
most incredible
ton of
pervert.
other
Congratulations.
like different things we'll be adding, which like I can go into whenever, but I don't want to just rant 100% of the time before I give you the chance to come on in. So yeah,
No,
that's the basics of what they are, but I can keep going if you'd like.
it fucks. I love it. I want to apologize to. I guess I want to apologize to everyone right now because I was futzing around with my camera and trying to get it to work while that whole while you were talking, but I was listening and thinking. I, I I made this joke earlier. I made this joke off air, which is that I had to go under my desk and pull out a bunch of wires and like, on the fly, like, latch a bunch of wires together and fucking pull shit out of the walls and I was like using a soldering iron on a bunch of circuit boards and shit to get my camera to work because my VTuber stopped acting. Um,
Which is the most Star Wars ass thing you could have possibly be doing to prepare for today's stream.
Yeah, and also just as you stopped talking, I have this fucking follow sound that's Sockpen Scorpy saying you were the most incredible pervert, and it played, and I always forget that happens during the Dovecote too. Um, but beside the point, I I'm a person who has played a pretty good amount of Galactic. I have to say I'm kind of an imposter. I have not played Going Rogue yet. Uh, I don't think I've gotten around to it, which this might be this might be a good excuse for me to do so. Um, I but I have read through it and I really like it. I really like I I feel like part of this is that like I watched the Aaron Voigt's video essay
Video essay.
on Going Rogue recently, Galactic and Going Rogue, mostly Going Rogue, and like I feel like all the things that are important to say about Going Rogue have kind of been said, although that's not necessarily true. Uh, it just I think Aaron identified a lot of things that I would probably mention about it, but I do really like. I like a BOB with like some mechanics with like an arc, uh, and I like that it's like still built around like a single session or like single instance, not necessarily session but instance play. As you said, everyone will die. Um, it's good shit. Uh, Riley Rethal, also
I
a friend of the show, has been on before.
I play so many one shots that like it just my first two games, both Going Rogue and I Have the High Ground, just like really lend themselves to one shots in part because like that's what I'm playing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so much easier to play test. So like as my first two games, it just sort of made sense. But like it's also really nice to have something you can sit down with and like start to finish a game in one session, create everything, play it out, and feel wrapped up. Because who's got time to schedule like 12 sessions in a row, you know?
Yeah, where do you think that is? Is it a scheduling thing for you, or do you think there are other desires that are leading you towards one shot play?
I would say it is more scheduling than anything and just being a
Mm-hmm.
busy person, but it is also that like I want to try out so many systems
Mm-hmm.
that it can be hard to get myself to commit to one. I think that's it. And then mostly like with the development of this game, it was mostly just like I had a story I wanted to tell. I know how that story is going to end, so um, needed to um, what was I say? I was trying to paste the link to Aaron's video essay in there. But so it just like, yeah, naturally
Oh
suggests that
hell
the
yeah.
structure. It's also nice because belonging outside belonging games can have a tricky problem with like knowing what direction to go.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing about GMless games is they're so open ended and you're all trying to like figure out together where the story is going. So the sacrifice fate, as it's called, which is what's like compels that your characters will eventually give their lives for the cause, gives you a sort of beat by beat structure that your game will go through, which is really helpful for both guiding a belonging outside belonging game and for a one shot play. So like making sure it hits the beats and gets to the end there. The team of people for Galactic and Going Rogue,
Mm-hmm.
which by the way is currently up to 30 contributors, which is like crazy. It's been such a massive project, but
Hell yeah.
we've got a Discord server for those folks, and we did a Rogue One watch party on
Oh.
Sunday, where we all just like watched and then like chatted about it together. And I was just like naming like move after move, just like character playbook moves, NPC moves, sacrifice fate moves, pillar moves, just as they happen. Which like to be clear, I've basically done in my head before when I was working on second edition, especially. Like I watched the movie and like did like a close watch, close read, took notes, used it generatively, and like this game goes far beyond Rogue One. I love Rogue One, and it also has extreme limitations. Jyn
Mm-hmm.
Erso is a terrible character,
Mm-hmm.
and the leveraged playbook is my attempt to save her character from. I wrote a 2,000-word essay in Aaron Voigt's DMs when he asked me an interview question about Jyn Erso, because I hate her character so much. But the goal was to take what is good about this thing, capture it, and then allow people to tell their own version of it at home that fixes the things that they think are a problem or that take
Mm-hmm.
it in directions that like a Disney product is never going to go. That's part of what I think is so beautiful about adaptive media like Galactic and Going Rogue is that like you can take your least favorite parts of this universe and tell it. Like I did an interview on Talk of the Table that'll be coming out in a few weeks, and we talked a lot about adaptational media that adapts another piece of work. And like I said, you have to love it, and you have to hate it, the source material. You have to both love it and hate it to make good adaptational media. You have to have something about it you genuinely love that has to come through and people have to feel that. But you also have to have something that bothers like the shit out of you about it that you desperately want to fix, and that needs to come through for people. And like I think it sucks that the Jedi are sexless child kidnapping ascetics, and that's like the metaphysically only good way to interact with the Force. It like sucks, um, and so something I loved about Galactic is it like opens that up to mean like a variety of things. Literally, in our original Galactic game that I talked about, you this was, I think, Rhiannon's idea, Rhi in chat, but it was, collectively workshopped, which is that using the space between, which is what we call the Force, using the space between, um, if you want to use it, if you want to gain power from it in order to achieve things you want, you can. But what it does back to you is it strips you of narrative agency at like a meta
Oh.
narrative level because the space between itself has an arc of the universe it wants. It has an epic arc that it wants. And the more you ask it to give you the power to make changes, the more it makes it so the only changes that you want are what it wants. And so it's this like devil's bargain of like, you can be agent upon the universe as long as you're okay with giving up what agency you want. Um,
Hey, have you played
yeah, it
Knights
was a
of the
great,
Old
great.
Republic too?
So, Rhiannon is obsessed with Knights of the Old Republic 2, was literally working on a KOTOR 2 inspired galactic
Yes.
like expansion that I have no idea what the status of that is, but like I've heard Rhi talk a lot about KOTOR 2, and I had no idea that that was yet another thing that Rhi was possibly playing off of. The results were incredible, but yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
Coder 2 is interesting because you're playing a character who has the Force because they're a hole in the Force. They can manipulate it
oh
because their
yeah.
absence. And also, it has a major villain whose whole goal is destroying the Force because of similar reasons to what you described. They didn't want to be part of another thing's narrative, and they didn't like the destruction that it caused.
Totally.
It's good stuff. But yeah, sorry, I don't mean to ask a question that is irrelevant to all the things that you just said. I just
Oh, no, no. Please do. Like, I want this. I could talk about Galactic and Going Rogue as a project for the next 5 hours because it's been my entire life for 5 months. But like, engaging with ideas like that is a more fun and interesting use of the space anyway.
good.
I'll hit the beats I need to hit.
Yeah,
Um, and also, that goes for the audience too. Like, if you have questions, please ask them. I am happy. I love getting to like answer what people want to know. I'm also going to just like tell you a bunch of stuff that I have not released publicly. But also, if you have questions about the game, the project, the process, anything, more than happy to answer.
yeah. And
Um,
also, if you're shy, if you're so shy, you can send questions to darlingdemoneclipse@gmail.com, and I will not tell people your email address or anything. So, uh, you know,
Hell yeah, that's a good system.
yeah. So if you want to be fully anonymous, you can.
And then let's see, there was something I wanted to specifically add. Oh, which is
Yeah.
just I mentioned stuff that has not been announced, and I
Oh,
mentioned Eclipse. If I sent you an image, is that something that you would be able to like put up on stream? I didn't even think about this.
easy peasy.
Awesome. I mentioned stuff that has not been announced, and I mentioned that Rhiannon, who's in chat and gave that wonderful KOTOR True inspired idea, will be on the project. Let's go ahead and show the show the part of the project that Rhi will be working on, which I have not yet announced.
I'm
It is
so
it is a new
intrigued.
version of something that does exist, but I'm going to talk a little bit about like how it's going to change, which I'm excited about. This is going to be a stretch goal. Um, there you
Oh,
go.
okay, that's fun. I'm seeing this
Um,
before you all, and you're all the peasants are are furious at me. They're throwing rocks at me, begging me to pour the bowl of hot stew over the barricade. Anyways,
let let them eat promotional tweets.
let them eat.
Um, So anyway, the Scum and Villains expansion is another galactic expansion that I did, which is inspired by like the Mandalorian type of shows, Book of Boba Fett, just like solo crime stories, um, and it was a very fun project to do. And if we hit the stretch goal at 100K question mark, we are going to make a print edition of the Scum and Villains that'll become available as an add-on, which is really exciting for me. And if we hit the next stretch goal, oh, actually, I'm realizing I got to back things up. Look up to the stars. I'm going to send you the image for that, but that
Mhm.
one has been announced if people have been paying close attention. Look up to the stars is another part of this project that I'm really excited about. Um, the full title, which has way too much text, is "Look Up to the Stars: Stories from a Distant Galaxy," a setting supplement for Galactic and Going Rogue. We are intentionally, yes, absolutely ripping on from a certain point of view.
Love it.
Uh, what the subtitle is also from a certain point of view. What's the fucking uh, there's a
Uh,
subtitle on there. Oh, maybe
yeah,
there's not.
something or other.
Maybe we just combined it between Look Up to the Stars and Stories from a Distant Galaxy. Anyway, point being, this is an idea I had. I was like, I want to give people more with the setting, but I don't want to draw really firm lines about what the setting is, because kind of the whole point of these games is that you do this yourself and that you get to design, what if I made Star Wars? How would it be different? And so, how do I balance that while also just like giving some people some cool material? And that's where the idea for Look Up to the Stars came in. What's going to happen is that each of the authors is going to write an in fiction short story. So like it might be like a manifesto or a memo or surveillance report or a historical text, like a secondary source, some in fiction report or idea that is based on one of the game's pillars. So if you aren't familiar with Galactic and Going Rogues, if you aren't familiar with belonging outside belonging, pillars or setting elements are things that represent large parts of the universe. So in Galactic, that's the Liberation, aka the Rebellion, the Mandate, aka the Empire, the Space Between, and the Scum and Villainy. And so those are like big elements of the setting that you can act as in order to play out the world, since there's no GM. And when you are playing the game, you pick desires for these forces. And so some examples of desires. What are good examples?
Oh
I thought I
gosh.
had a little paragraph. Oh, I can name a million off the top of my head. It's just that I've pulled out good examples and then
Okay.
forgotten what I've pulled out. Um, so I think I'll have that link for you very shortly.
Awesome.
Yes, there we go. Not a link. That is something to read. So, like, your liberation might want retaliatory violence and ideological discourse, or it might be more interested in imagination of a better world and working together. So that's going to determine like what is the tone of our game? What are we trying to do? It's almost like the like palette grid idea that has been recently popular. I know both you
Yeah,
and Jay have
Jay's
talked about.
Jay's thing. It's good shit.
Whereas the space between might want intense bonds and uncontainable emotions, or unity with those who came before. And so you pick these in order to shape your setting and help you all reference back to them to know, like, what type of world to be building, or what should the space between do here? I don't know. Let's check its desires. Anyway, what's going to happen in this little anthology, which is going to be separate from the main book, because I don't want the main book to like bias you on what these
Mhm.
things look like and what is true of these factions. But this book, each author will pick the desires for a pillar as if they were going to play a game in this system. And then they will write that in fiction short story with those desires. And the book will say, here are the desires they pick. Here's the story. So you can see, what is it like to take those desires and expand them out into an actual fiction and an actual
That's so
like idea
smart.
and universe.
Love that.
Thank you. It lets us do this really interesting like halfway between like what is just a fiction anthology and what is like a piece of a game, right? And I think that like listing the desires is a fun way to uh, be in the middle there. And if and I'm like hesitant, I've been very careful in how I frame this, because like I don't want people to be like, this is the setting. But if people want to like choose those desires, or even just without choosing those desires, use these as props, it will also mean that there's just like eight um, in fiction texts you can hand your players and be like, you receive this surveillance report or
Mhm.
whatever. So there'll also be props. Anyway, that's Look Up to the Stars, and I am so by default it's going to have 3 people, but it will go up to 6 in that book and 2 more stories in another. We'll get back to that, which I'm really excited about. The base version of it has Gita Jackson, the like games journalist
Mhm.
from Kotaku and now Aftermath, Aaron Lim on Altogether Different River, if people are familiar with that
We
game,
had Aaron on the show
and
quite a while back.
oh,
Yeah.
hell yeah. So Gita, Aaron, and Salva, who's the friends of Riley's that I'm really excited to get to put in here. Um, and then I'm going to do a forward. If we hit our stretch goals, we're going to have Jason Morningstar, the designer of Fiasco and
Hell
Night
yeah.
Witches and Winterhorn. Yeah, which I'm so excited about. He's most of them, we haven't decided who's doing what pillar. I asked Jason, can you do the intelligence? Because the intelligence, for people who don't know, is one of the going rogue pillars, and it
Mhm.
represents the like spies and like people doing like the really dirty, messy work. Um, going rogue splits the liberation into the parliament and the intelligence. So we've got the intelligence, who are the like spies doing the dirty work, and the parliament, who are the people doing the like democratic governance of this rebellion and like the coalition making and all of that. And something I emphasize in the game is that neither the parliament nor the intelligence are bad guys
Mhm.
or good guys. They are both factions that like are necessary to fighting a revolution, and if either gets too out of hand, they can get in the way. And so Parliament can like slow it down and keep you from doing what you need to do, or the intelligence can corrupt the ethical principles that make it worth doing. And so it's this like push pull between these factions. And someone in chat has very, very intelligently, intelligently, pointed out that Jason could just reprint Winterhorn for the intelligence. Winterhorn is a LARP by Jason Morningstar about playing as a 3-letter intelligence agency who is trying to break up some sort of revolutionary group. You're playing the bad guys in this LARP. And they even made a shortened workshop version for left-wing organizations to be able to run as training for security. Like, look at this
Mhm.
from the perspective of the people who would be trying to COINTELPRO you. Um, and I love Winterhorn is such a cool idea, and I got to talking with Jason about it at Big Bad Con a few years ago because of how much I related to it with Going Rogue and like the ideas, the themes it's trying to play in. So I was like, Jason, can you write the intelligence because of Winterhorn? So like whoever, oh Mossy, hi Mossy,
Yeah, I'm Aussie.
you pointing, yeah, when yeah, I was like, Jason, you would be incredible at this for exactly that reason. And he was excited too. So that was very, very exciting for me. And then we also will have stretch goal stories from David Bednar, who is the cover artist, the one who drew this cover.
Oh hell
Will
yeah.
also be giving us a
Mhm.
story. Yeah, it's great. David, it's so funny. The way that David ended up working on Galactic and Going Rogue is that I played Going Rogue. I facilitated Going Rogue on A More Civilized Age with Austin Walker, Natalie Watson, and Ali Akampora, Rob Zachney, who will be coming back up later. I'll let you know. But I played it on A More Civilized Age, and David drew fan art on co-host, rip co-host forever. Um, David drew fan art on co-host. Could you pop this up on the screen when it gets there, Eclipse?
Yes.
Wonderful. So yeah, David drew
Oh
some fan
yeah.
art of the episode on co-host, and I was like, hi, this is amazing. The existing cover to Going Rogue sucks. Can I pay you to adapt this into a new Going Rogue cover? And David was like, yeah, I would love that. And so if you look at the new Galactic and Going Rogue cover, it is
Let me
featuring
see.
these same characters who are like carrying over into this into our new universe. All the characters from the previous 2 covers are actually on this cover. So like
It's
Surge
pretty
did the
cool.
original cover. Yeah, I've really been trying with this project. I know I'm like 3 tangents deep, but
It's
I've
okay. It's
really
allowed.
been trying. Thank you. I've really been trying with this project to like involve and like reward, but also like highlight people who have been part of a history of these games and just in general the history of these games because these are games with like these will be third editions and like a lot of people involved at different times. And so like Surge did the original Galactic cover, and all of Surge's characters and those characters that Surge drew were from a Galactic game that Riley played. So when I asked David to do the cover, I was like, put the characters from Surge's cover on one side and put the characters from your cover and the AMCA game on the other side. And then because Riley and I both wanted Surge still involved, Surge is doing the interior art for Look Up to the Stars. So each of the stories will get a little illustration, and that'll be done by the original Galactic cover artist. But that tangent over, David did fan art. I thought it was amazing. Did covers, is doing every cover in this crowdfunder, which is Look Up to the Stars, Galactic and Going Rogue, Scum and Villains, and even an exclusive new cover for I Have the High Ground. We've just decided, like, I Have the High Ground is not a Star Wars game, but there's enough of the theme that, like, it won't cost that much to print and throw it in, so we're throwing it in.
It's in here.
And I wanted all of the covers to feel coordinated. So I was like, David, can you also give me a new version of the Have the High Ground cover? And the inspiration that I gave to David was, I was like, David, does this reference land for you? Full Metal Alchemist? Full Metal Alchemist. Because that's what I want. I want the second Full Metal Alchemist, the post-commercial break version of the existing I Have the High Ground cover. And so the other I Have the High Ground cover is that you're looking over that top character's shoulder down at the bottom character, and this one it's shot reverse shot, just in color, so you're seeing from the perspective of the other character as like a Full Metal Alchemist type reference. Anyway,
I'm like, do I grab my copy? I'd have to put a fucking shirt on. Never mind.
Oh, I Have the High Ground to like show the physical?
Yeah, because I have it, but it's okay. Y'all, hang on. Let me
get the image. Yeah, I'll keep talking while you do.
I'm just gonna post I Have the High Ground so people can look it up.
Oh hell yes, yeah. A link to it will also show the cover. So all of those authors will be doing stories and Look Up to the Stars. If we hit all our stretch goals, that'll mean every pillar in the core book will get a story and Look Up to the Stars. And then all the way back to where I started.
Well, hang on, I have thoughts on.
Oh yeah, go.
The thing of like involving the people and things in games that have like happened for a game in your vicinity, I think is like so important when you're making something like this. I mean, not necessarily important, but like I think it's really cool. It's the thing that I like to do. Like, I mean, literally the person who's making the Sapphic World cover is Ira, who like made a bunch of Sapphic World fan art. So
hell yeah,
I like it. It's good. I like little characters. I like iconics. I think we've lost the Pathfinder iconics a little bit.
Oh yes, totally.
They're so fun.
Embarrassingly, I really liked the like continuing characters from the 3.5 handbook when I was in high school playing.
They're so cool.
3.5. Yeah, just having like a little guy that you get to know the game through actually rules.
Yeah.
That said, it's an interesting double bind because I also, like I've said, with the pillars and not wanting to prescribe what the pillars are and look like, these are archetypal playbooks, right? Like it's the playbooks in Going Rogue include the spy, the knight errant, the leverage. These are all inspired by characters from Rogue One, but they're archetypal, and I don't want to prescribe what they look like because they're intentionally meant to be able to look over, or like become a variety of things, to grow beyond the characters that inspired them. And so like I was very clear with our layout artist, I do not want character art on any of the playbooks. Because I do not want to say this is what this type of character looks like. And so I'm going to try really hard to avoid linking any of those directly, even if I think having an iconic version of it that does appear in other places throughout the book is a good idea.
Yeah.
I just want to be careful.
That's really smart. That's also something that we're doing with. It's funny that we're having this conversation now because like pretty recently I had the like we like the last couple months we've been doing like the Sapphic World, like like actual like art and writing work meetings,
Yeah.
and a lot of the same things are showing up. Like we want iconics, but the banners and spot art for the playbook should not have those because we want people to to imagine. It's good. It's important.
Yes.
I
I am
agree.
so glad I'm not the only one thinking about that, and like it's very
Mm-hmm.
affirming.
It's good.
Um, Also, I'm realizing I forgot to say, you might notice one character was missing from the fan art and the second edition going into the new cover, which is that Rob's character from A More Civilized Age was very clearly a Star Wars medical droid, and we are increasingly worried about attention from Disney, and so
Uh-huh.
we're just not going to feature the medical droid. Sorry, Rob, your character's got to go.
It's okay.
um, yeah, it's like that. Which, speaking of, I was going to mention this at some point, but I might as well go ahead and do it now. Which is that for anyone who doesn't know, it's really important to me because I'm talking Star Wars so much and might talk Andor, that Disney Plus is on the Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions, the BDS priority target list. So, BDS is a Palestinian led movement for boycotting certain companies that support Israeli genocide. And BDS is the type of boycott that works because it is a targeted boycott that selects specific companies or even specific product lines and says, we're going to focus as many people on those specific ones, and they've been doing this for years effectively. Like there is research showing the ways they have meaningfully cut profits of companies they've targeted, and Disney Plus is on the BDS priority target list as of the end of last year. When we learned this, Riley and I had to ask some significant questions about what that means for us and like promoting ourselves based on Andor. It's not an accident this is happening around the second season of Andor.
Mm-hmm.
And the decision that we came to is that we're going to be receiving fans of Andor, but almost no one who finds our game is going to look at our game and then go, "This makes me more interested in Andor." Um, and so the more I think impactful thing we could do is actually any. I have committed internally. I don't say this anywhere, but I've committed internally. Anywhere that we reference a Disney Plus product, we put our BDS statement either like in that web page or on the in the Twitter, like the Blue Sky thread. Um, and so you can see that on our pre-launch page because we think it's very important for people to know we absolutely do not condone or approve of subscribing to Disney Plus in order to watch Andor or any other Star Wars because it is on the BDS list. It is very, very important. We are both anti Zionist Jews who strongly, strongly care about ending Israeli genocide in Palestine. So if you have a Disney Plus subscription, cancel it. Don't make one to watch Star Wars. It's on the BDS list. Um, and I was going on that tangent because it was particularly related for a reason that I've lost.
It's
But do you
okay.
remember where I was?
I don't quite remember, but I will also say like, you know, for those who have not watched a lot of the Dovecote, I've kind of been less. I've been a little bit more relaxed in it recently, just because like it hasn't been in the TTRPG news a lot, where I look. But this is a deeply anti-Zionist show. This is a Jewish anti-Zionist show. Uh, I don't fuck around with Zionists. I don't fuck around with Israel, Free Palestine, and I think it's good that y'all are like making that distinction. Early and often. Um,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, lot of a truly comforting number of anti-Zionist Jews in the TTRPG space. I
Mm-hmm.
know, like all the Jewish influences on Sapphic World are so cool, and getting to be another anti-Zionist Jew in the space with you rules.
Hell yeah.
Um, but yeah, so mention that, and then I was talking about bringing people in. Oh, whatever. I will move back to the last thing I remember I was going to talk about, which was the Scum and Villains expansion, where
Mm-hmm.
this whole series of tangents started. We've worked up the stack. Um, the Scum and Villains expansion, like I said, is this like very Mandalorian inspired one, and it's pretty small at the moment, and there will be stretch goals to expand it.
Uh,
Specifically, um, just like Look Up to the Stars will have, if we hit all our stretch goals, all the pillars in the base book, the Scum and Villains expansion, one thing it does is split the Scum and Villainy pillar into the scum and the villains as pillars.
Mhm.
Um, and the scum are the like criminals who are doing this because like they don't have other options and they're just like scraping by with enough credits to get through the week, sort of thing. And the villains are the people who are like in charge of the like major crime organizations and like taking advantage of the criminals below them. And fun fact, I do, because it's an expansion book, I let myself do a little more world building, and specifically I establish two like crime organizations, the Vulcan Syndicate and the Bosch family. Um, the Vulcan Syndicate is playing in Star Wars's like major syndicates, the five syndicates or
Mhm.
whatever, and the Bosch family is playing in the Hutt family.
Mhm.
Um, and specifically, the way that I got those names, the Walton Syndicate is just the Waltons of Walmart,
Mm.
pronounced with a
Mhm.
V. And the Bosch family is just the Bush family, but with an O to
Really
sound more
fucking
Star Wars.
funny. Really good.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Those will be totally opaque unless anyone's here listening, but
Mhm.
I find it fun. Anyway, point is that the scum and the villains pillars, if we hit our stretch goals, will get their own short fiction, just like Look Up to the Stars, directly in the Scum and Villains book. So they'll
Oh hell
also
yeah.
come with, yeah, fiction stories for those two pillars, and those are being done by Ree, who is in chat,
Hmm.
Rhiannon, who we've talked about, the KOTOR 2, and being in that original Galactic game. Ree helped playtest the Scum and Villains expansion with me, so I was like, Ree, can you actually come back and like uh, expand this world and like show this to people in this way? And I love Ree's fiction. I've read a lot of it when she was writing the 30,000 of the 150,000 words, I think. Rhea is an incredible author. I'm very, very excited to have her doing that if we hit our stretch goals. And then the other one is Aki, Jesse Akinomi Low, who is on Bring Your Own Mech, Goblets and Gaze, An
Hmm.
Unwavering Force, which is a Star Wars actual play. These are all actual play podcasts. Um, and who wrote for the Tianxia World Guide,
Nice.
the Pathfinder book. Um,
Okay.
and yeah, so Aki will be writing for the other pillar in that book if we hit our stretch goals. And Aki's favorite Star Wars is actually the Book of Boba Fett, and as Aki said on Sunday, it's bad, and that's part of why she loves it.
I understand.
Um,
I understand.
yeah. And so I was like, Aki, can you do one of these stories? Because it's like perfectly like themed, and there will be a $150,000 stretch goal for Aki will add places to the Scum and Villains expansion. So places are a mechanic that Riley did that's like roll up a random location, and then it can have 2 to 3 aesthetic elements and 1 to 2 rumors about it that help give you like, okay, we don't know where to go in this belonging outside belonging game. Let's just create a place and things happening in it, and we'll use that as our sort of like starting point. Um, and crime stories have so many iconic types of like places to go, like the cantina. And so I was like, Ahi, can you also come on and make some like place tables for the Scum and Villains expansion? Um, that stretch goal will actually also include the one second. That stretch goal will also include Seda doing places for going rogue. Seda is doing so many things on this crowdfunder. There
Hmm.
is no one who will have a larger impact on what this eventually becomes, that like outside of Riley and myself, than Seda. They are editing the Scum and Villains expansion. So they are the editor for the Scum and Villains expansion. They were the system design consultant for every edition of Going Rogue. They have helped me through all sorts of
Hmm.
thorny design problems. They did writing on the like current edition of the Scum and Villains expansion. They will be editing the fiction in Look Up to the Stars. They will be. They did the editing for the actual play podcasts, which
I say that.
I haven't even begun to talk about. Hi, Seda. Um, the performing in the actual play podcast and potentially writing a list of places for Going Rogue. Um, Sada's incredible, has like design consulted on every one of
Mhm.
my games, helps the first thing I do if I have like a design problem in a game that I am struggling with is go, Seda, can we hop on a call and talk about this for an hour? Because I know just talking it through with them will help me work through like whatever it is that I'm struggling. Like my games are just unimaginably better for their involvement, and they are like everywhere across this project. I'm very, very, very grateful, and had no idea they were here in chat. So hi, and
Seda's so cool. I got to work on Seda on their show Folio, and it's that was very fun. Uh, I should say this directly to Seda in like a DM or something, but that's not really the way the Dovecote goes. So I'll just say it on the Dovecote. I should have Seda on the show.
yeah,
Yeah.
um, the Folio is such a cool podcast. I was also
Uh-huh.
on Folio
You
playing
were.
Alone Among the Stars, and I love Eclipse, your sopping wet baby girl in
Thank you.
Unplugged Survivor. Um, so for those who don't know here in the audience, Folio is a actual play podcast about solo TTRPGs, solo and epistolary TTRPGs, but it is a multi-guest one where Seda takes the people who have been like people record playing each solo game separately. It's like a multi-episode arcs with different solo games. They record separately, and then Seda edits them together, weaving them to be simultaneous, unless it's epistolary, but weaving them together to be simultaneous. So you'll hear like each person doing that section of the game in parallel. It's so unreal how good a job Seda does of that. Like uh, you listen to it and you forget that these people aren't actually sitting in a room talking because they managed to blend it into such a conversational
Mhm.
style. It's one of the coolest things I've seen in actual play in a long time, and I could talk about it forever. Mm.
People should go watch.
Anyway,
Go listen, rather.
yes, yeah,
Sorry, brain.
it is an amazing idea. Like, check out Folio. Like, go from the beginning. There's so much in there.
Mhm.
Like, it rules. It rules. And you're on the second arc, right? Unplugged Survivor is the second. Yes.
Yes.
Um, it's so good.
It's good shit.
So anyway, I had been talking about the scum and villains and places because the places everyone stretch goal has hockey
How
and data.
how do you feel about telling us about the AP and then perhaps we get into the news?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for giving me direction, or I'll just keep going.
It's okay.
Um, the actual play, you know what? Fuck it. Where's the graphics that show everything about the actual play that hasn't been
Mm,
announced? Because I'm gonna give that to you and to your viewers right now.
hell yeah.
Um, let's go. There is one, it'll be one for Galactic and one for Going Rogue. Oh, I don't have Discord Nitro anymore, so it's angry about my file size here. I'll give you a Dropbox link.
Okay. I'm so intrigued
Um,
about who you brought on for one and the other now. That's really fascinating.
Eclipse, I was thinking for so long about casting for these, like you have
Haha.
no idea. But there's going to be two APs. Galactic is going to be on Party of One with Jeff Stormer, who I would die for.
Oh fuck
Um,
yes.
Jeff rules, and it'll be like two episodes on Party of One. The first one will come out the day before the crowdfunder, and then Going Rogue will be on One Shot with Dylan, who's also absolutely incredible. So as you get those up, um, the Galactic actual play has Jeff facilitating, and then Katrina Dennis, Dusty Hill, who has been ride or die for these games from the
Hell
beginning.
yeah.
I love Dusty. Also on Folio, on my Folio arc actually. But yeah, Jeff, Katrina, um, who's writing for Look Up to the Stars, Dusty, Nala J. Wu, for those who know Nala from like E to One by Night, and a
Yeah.
bunch of different art things, and Ifi Nwadiwe, uh,
Okay, let me
which
see if I can.
was pretty exciting for me
Yeah,
to be able to bring Ifi in.
that's get for sure.
Thank you. Um, so yeah, Galactic will be up May 19th, and like in all honesty, producing the actual plays has kind of been the most creative project part of this planning process for me. This
Right, because you haven't been making
organizing this
much new.
crowdfund. Yes, exactly. These are
Yeah.
games that exist in
Oh
largely their
fuck,
final
that's so
format.
big.
Oh, that's large. But I've spent the last like 5 months completely absorbed in this crowdfunder and like getting to produce and set up and figure out like what is the structure of these things, who is the cast, how are we going to do this, has been like a really important creative work to me, and a lot of time going back and forth with Seda, who's also been producing for it and who is doing the editing for it. To just, I'm really, really excited to be able to share these with y'all, and I think they're going to be some of the coolest demonstrations of the system that have ever existed. So I'm
Amazing.
very excited about it. And then I didn't go through the Going Rogue one, which is now on the screen. It is facilitated by Austin Walker, which I'm so grateful to Austin for like coming back to Going Rogue. Like I said, I ran it on A More Civilized Age, which is Austin's Star Wars podcast, and got to have him come back and facilitate it. Players include Dylan, who is the one-shot host, Kendo, for those who know, Kendo makes films, who's just incredible, Natalie from A More Civilized Age, and Seda, who is the editor from Folio. I The world building in the Going Rogue actual play is like, I wish I could have told the players to be like to do that for like 18 hours. I wish I had had the budget to do that, because listening to them design a Star Wars universe, just like anyone who knows any of those five people, they are the perfect people to like build a fascinating and like tangled web of meaning in a universe like this. And it's just like I cannot wait until that episode is out. It's so cool.
Yeah,
um
these are huge, and I'm not just talking about the file size.
yes, yeah. And casting was really interesting. You mentioned like how did I pick for different
Mhm.
people, or for different things, and I was definitely thinking about like, okay, so I've got basically a comedy and a tragedy I'm casting for here, and who do I think is going to want to tell those like comedic and charming but also like relationally messy stories, and then who do I think I want to have telling these like dramatic stories and these stories of like conflict between characters, which is challenging in and of itself. In particular, I want to shout out Natalie. After my More Civilized Age appearance, I actually like sent a DM to Natalie thanking her, because the thing about Going Rogue is that it is a game that expects your player characters to like fight with each other and be mad at each other and not like each other a lot at the beginning.
Yeah.
And that is really tricky to do coming into a podcast with four established co-hosts who aren't you and who you've never played a game with before.
Mhm.
And like trying to come in there and immediately like get in fights with them in character is like very intimidating, especially when they're people who are much more well known than you. And Natalie's character in the original AMCA actual play just like immediately started getting into it with mine. Like Natalie just like came for me in a way that was exactly what I needed to be invited into that sort of conflict. And so I think that is one story that explains a lot of how I thought about casting here, which was like, who do I know is going to do a really good job of taking the like core ideas and themes and tone of this game and playing it out. And I'm really, really happy. I think it worked out like exactly how I was hoping, and very grateful to all my players.
Hell yeah.
Um, yeah, thank you.
Yay.
I think that's everything I'll say on the actual play for now.
Yeah. I man, I really need to play Going Rogue, because I feel like I enjoy being like, oh, it's my old buddy Bleepo from my old Star Adventures, but also being like, I was at Scrouch 9 is really fun, you know?
um,
Like,
we are gonna have to like go through the VOD and like transcribe everything you just said as the way of describing um the difference between these games. You just like put it in the most incredible terms. Thank you so much, Eclipse.
thank you. Uh, yeah, Star Wars is so cool. Parentheses, don't give them money.
Yes.
And if
Make your
you,
own. We have Star Wars at home.
all of the Galactic that I played is always like it's been so much fun, and I'm really excited for this game to like get into more people's hands and you know, to have a big fancy shiny multi-book, multi-zine. The amount of zines you're making is fucking crazy, Jess. Like,
We're making a lot of books. We're making a lot of books. There's gonna be like a $65 tier that's like the book set. So it'll have I Have the High Ground, Galactic and Going Rogue, and the Scum and Villain. Or no, not Scum and Villains. That's an add-on. Galactic and Going Rogue, Look Up at the Stars, and the Scum and I said that twice now. Uh, it's the three big ones: Galactic and Going Rogue, Look Up to the Stars, and I Have the High Ground in a book set. Part of why we're doing that is actually also just that, like, I want to save people on shipping if they can. I want to
mhm,
have a tier that's just like all books because it can be media mail in the US and because tariffs don't hit books as of right now,
mhm.
probably. And so that's the like tier for what if you just want books, want to save on shipping. And then I'm realizing I don't think I have shown anyone the box set yet.
I
I
would
think
love to see
that's
the box
on.
set. If
Hell
you feel
yeah.
like you can show it here.
I absolutely will. Let me give you the image for the box set. That's
Excellent.
exciting. This box set has been the bane of my existence as far as the production half of
Uh
it, because
huh.
if no one's worked with an overseas manufacturer before, it's just a long. This is my first time doing it, and it's a long communication process that is extra difficult in this political moment. But I'm really excited about some of the things. Luna P, for those who know Luna,
Hmm.
Satellites Naturalists, is doing the component art. And once you pop this up on screen, I'll talk about the components because it really should have a visual element.
Yep, we're getting there.
Um,
Here we go.
but yeah, there we go. Um, so it's going to have a box with all three of those books that I mentioned. It's going to have 44 cards that are the traits. So when you want to create an NPC, you
Oh,
can just deal out 2 cards
that
for the
fucks.
traits. So 36 for Galactic, 6 for Going Rogue, and then some like guide cards. You can see the card backs there that Luna did that are like gorgeous pieces of art. Um, and then I'm realizing the token renders are too small to see. So let's see if I can also
I can
pull
make it
those
big.
up
Hang on.
separate.
I can make it big as hell.
Hell yeah, let's do it. We developed like a basically a symbol language for Galactic and Going Rogue. So you can see the like hand in hand for Galactic and the like blaster rifle and a raised fist for Going Rogue in the center there. The component I'm most excited about is that there's going to be 25 of those metal tokens for representing like belonging outside belonging tokens with a symbol for each game on either side, like engraved on them, which I'm really pumped about. I think
Wait,
it'll just
that's
be
what
like
that
feel so
was.
good.
That's what that was. Okay, I understand things
That's
now. You've
what was?
you've shown me this gun before.
Oh, yes. Yeah, when I was trying to get the gun
Yes,
design right. Oh my
I
God.
understand everything
Um,
now.
design provisional. The process of just making a design that fits in the
Hmm.
laser is its whole own thing. But the
Yeah.
dice, for that reason, actually, anyone who's seeing this, you're seeing the version of this image that doesn't have the actual dice. Those are just some random dice that our really incredible graphic designer Chris Viana found
Good.
because I haven't gotten the printer to give me a preview of the dice because they keep saying the lines are too small. But there will be dice whose 6 faces are the symbols from either side of the token, right? So 2d6. Because despite being belonging outside belonging, these games are not diceless. I'm sorry. 2 dice, no masters, because Riley does have some random tables, which I love.
It's good.
Anyway, yeah, that's we're doing a lot of books, and then there's the box set tier for those who want to get all the things. And then I think we were trying to move on to other stuff we were going to discuss. So
Yeah,
I'll stop ranting for a little
that's
bit.
okay. If anyone wants to send me $90, that
Uh,
would, yeah.
Eclipse, talk to me afterwards. You're getting a box set,
Oh
okay?
shit. Okay.
Uh,
Haha. Smiles. All right. Thank you.
you're doing you're doing the feature stream of this, right? You're the first person who's like put this out in
I
front of people.
I
Yeah,
suppose I
thank you so
am.
much.
I don't have as big of an audience as some of the other girlies, but I appreciate it. Um,
Eclipse, I love your work. I think Sapphic
Thank
World
you.
is doing something incredibly cool and unique in the TTRPG space. I think you are like leading the pack when it comes to like adult games in a way that the space needs right now. And yeah, it's just been a joy to playing Sapphic World with you was incredible, and I'm very, very happy to be able to do this here.
Well, thank you so much. I hope that I've at least been I hope I've been glowing enough about your work as well. I mean, not glowing enough, you know what I mean. I really enjoy what you do as well, and I think folks should like, if folks haven't, beyond Galactic and going rogue, we didn't even talk about Planet Fist, which is like probably my favorite game that you've made because it's the one that I played the most.
Yeah,
But
and you were like even working on your own expansion for it.
I still want to finish that once you start putting your foot on the pedal on going on Planet Fist, I will put my foot on my pedal, uh, for my funny weird what if it was bugs expansion.
What if it
Um,
was bugs?
what if it was bugs and it was also there was some flower stuff and I don't know, maybe there might be gay sex in it. I don't know. We're thinking things
Oh, it should
through.
be.
There probably should be. Uh, but yeah. Play Planet Fest is all I'll say. Like it's a really good. I think I've talked about it on here before, so I don't know how fine a point I need to put on it. But like really fucking good tactical PBTA. Like Jess had a vision and like executed it really effectively, I think.
Thank you. And if folks, anyone who's listening to this stream, if you want a playtest copy of the next edition, the one that Eclipse was working with while
Hmm.
making that expansion, just email me my website, justfrom.online/contact, and I will give you a copy of the playtest edition. I'm like almost embarrassed about the release edition at this point, but I haven't been able to finish the new edition because in part this crowdfunder has put it off. But
Hmm.
once this crowdfunder is done, like getting Faithless Edition out the door is my focus. So fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
you're putting a huge amount of work. I mean, you put a huge amount of work into everything, and I hope that people appreciate the, you know, uh, you've been doing a good job. Um,
Thank you.
yeah. Um, okay. You want to talk about the news now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Um, so the first thing here is from a user I don't really agree with on a lot of things. This Jess from Not Online.
Yeah, who's
um,
that?
uh,
Notorious Blue Sky user, just from that online.
Yeah. Oh shit, the birds. I have one of them in. Cordis, the news bird, coming in from a galaxy far away. Shh.
Yeah.
Um, and welcome to the news. So the first news story is from Jess because I saw a post that Jess made and I thought it was really cool, and I think people should. I wish I still had my sound clip that says seriously, do this because that's what I'm feeling right now. Uh, this post that you made about the second annual unofficial 5 out of 5 itch.io rating day. It is May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. You should go onto itch.io and find a game that you like this one, and rate it
Thank you
five
so much.
stars. And this one, have I? Fucking hell! Right? See, I'm showing that I have bad habits here, because I
Nope.
didn't do these when I. Okay, this
No
one I
one
got.
ever remembers to, including myself. Like it's
Yeah.
totally reasonable that you don't remember to, but look at this. I've done it for Sapphic World. I'm doing that right now. I love Sapphic
Thank
World. I loved
you.
playing it with you.
Do I
Um,
have? Okay, I should not show my itch library on here because it has pornography in it. Uh,
yeah.
let me see if I have. Uh,
But there's
actually,
there's literally May the 5th be rated to and by you. Thank you so much, Mossy.
oh, that's fun.
Um,
Okay, actually, I
I
can
will
show
be
this page. I can show the page of all the projects that I've downloaded. Yeah, I can do this. This is fine.
there's a link that itch gives you of a things to rate. Yes, that's what you're pulling up. I just put the link in chat.
Yes.
Um, and it'll show you things that you've downloaded that you haven't rated, and like just go through and hit that rate button and give it 5 stars. It is such a huge algorithmic help. Like if you've never released anything on itch, just those star ratings determine when people search for games, what order things are in, and like when someone gets a burst of star ratings at the same time, you get pushed up kind of as if you just released your game. Like you go to the
Yeah.
top of the like hot or popular page. And so like I will get a sudden influx of sales if I get a sudden influx of reviews. So it is an unimaginable help. And like as you're seeing Eclipse do, it is taking like seconds. That little text
That's
thing there.
pornography, but it's not. It doesn't show anything. This is also pornography, but it doesn't show. 100. By the way, 100 Hungry Minutes by Taylor Titmouse. Do you want to read a story about a guy just fucking some normal plants? Like not even. I'm not even kidding. It's just about a guy who fucks some pitcher plants, and there's nothing else that happens in the story. Um, I don't remember the
That
story.
is incredible.
Yeah, good Titmouse story. Uh,
Taylor Titmouse did like art on co-host, right? Like porn art on co-host.
Oh, I think
Am I
maybe.
remembering that
Yeah.
correctly?
Oh, also
Yeah,
Starwench by
did
Anna
some great art.
Entropy. Really good. Starwench is a series of like choose your own adventure endings where the titular Starwench is like defeated every time by the Space Queen. Um, and there's a lot of really good stuff there. Hawkmoth, which I've talked
Hell yeah.
about. I shouldn't do this on stream. It is kind of fun to do this on stream, though. I don't know, how much time do we have?
I mean, it's a good demonstration. If we're going till 9, we have 50 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, fuck it. I don't have that many. Let's just go through these.
It's a good indication of like how easy it is to do this. Like, there's a reason I say on 5.5 take 5 minutes to do this,
Fuck it, I'm gonna do this one too.
because it really doesn't take that long. And um, the text entry thing that like I feel like prevents some people from thinking they like, oh, I need to write a real review. Only the creator sees that. No one else
Yeah.
sees the text of your reviews. It's an insane way that Itch is designed. If you want to leave a text review, because this is another thing as a creator makes me insane, is someone leaves this beautiful text review that I like am grateful to read, and it like makes me happy to read it. But like I would love for anyone to see it. The Fleet and Fabricant series is there. I love A Quiet Universe is a
Yeah, I still
beautiful
gotta read
book.
that. Or I download the audiobook for it. Just haven't
But yeah,
gotten
no
to
one
it.
sees that review. If you comment on the itch page, if you write a
Mhm.
text review, also post it as a comment on the page because that's also great for the algorithm and people will actually see it. And I was also going to say, like, what I always ask for people to do is if you have played my games or if
That's
you've
tits.
heard them on
That's
an
tits.
actual
That's
play.
tits. That's tits. Hang on. Uh,
um
sorry.
and what's that?
There were boobs. It's fine. I just need
Oh,
to.
it
I did
happens.
not see them. Uh, I hope no one saw
Eh,
that. Hope Twitch didn't see that. It's fine. They're boobs in Baldur's Gate
we're no
3.
narcs here.
Yeah. Don't report my stream, everybody. Thank you. Okay, sorry.
But
Continue.
no problem. Yeah, just basically what I tend to ask people is if you've played my game and enjoyed it, or if you've listened to an actual play of my game and enjoyed it, and if you wanted to go give it 5 stars, I would really appreciate it. I never want to ask people to like. My policy is I only like rate games that I have played or that I have listened to an actual play of, so I actually like know how the system works.
Hmm.
Yeah, if you have done that with either of my any of my games and you wanted to go do that right now, that would be incredible.
I show no such
Um,
distinction. I'm liking everything. I'm five
That's
starring
so
everything.
fair.
Although actually I don't know anything
Boostin',
about
let's
this
go.
one. We're dismissing this. I don't know anything about this. Uh
That's so fair.
oh wait, there's more. Hang on.
Triangle
Uh
Agency rules.
I should not scroll down right now.
But
So yeah, sorry.
no problem. Yeah, anyway, so that's a yearly thing. I just post and be like, do this thing because people don't even know how much it helps or just don't remember to. We don't remember to. I hadn't done Sapphic World. You hadn't done Eye of the High Ground. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a really helpful way to spend 5 minutes.
Against the Apocalypse by Oli Garden. That's a good one. Also, people should read. Hang on, I just want to fucking gesture people towards this. If you like
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
interesting plural like autobiographical stuff from T Girls, Dead God Vor is really good. I actually have art in it from years and years ago. Um,
Hell yeah.
it's a really good scene. So give that a look. But yeah, sorry, I got deep in the flow of five starring everything. Um,
Gotta hit buttons.
do you want to talk about something that's a bit more of a bummer?
Yeah, Polygon layoff time.
I'll start off with a slightly lighthearted beat, which is that if you look at this link that we have, the not the like actual headline, but the headline in the tab has a typo. It says,
incredible. And I was thinking, like, I almost didn't want to link Kotaku. It seemed to be the best article, but it's like that what happened to Polygon essentially happened to Kotaku at some point already. And so unsurprising to hear that there is a typo in that, considering they did the same goddamn shit to their employees.
wait, how do you say Kotaku? Is that how you say Kotaku?
Oh, I have no idea. Well, thing is, it's Japanese syllables, and there's no stress to my understanding in the Japanese language,
Right.
and so each syllable has equal stress. So I try and say it kotaku, like without any stress, but I might also be being, um, it's not a Japanese magazine, and so perhaps the accepted pronunciation is kotaku. I have no idea.
You might be more right than everybody out in the world, so
Well, thanks.
yeah.
I do try and be more right than everyone in the
Yeah,
world when I
you've
can
been
be.
working hard on that. Yeah. So, Valnet, which owns Polygon. Sorry, owns Polygon now. Polygon was sold to Valnet, and there was a huge amount of layoffs, including relevant to TTRPGs, Charlie Hall, and I mean pretty much everybody else who does TTRPG stuff on the site. Uh, Charlie Hall being the director. I don't know what his actual title was, but you know he was the chief editor for TTRPGs on the site. Um, a I mentioned this before the stream started to Jess, a person who I've razzed a little bit over the years for you know for writing about D&D mostly. um, but genuinely, like, I hope that he finds a new place to work. And I hope that everybody who is affected by this finds new work. And actually, something that might is she still going? When we end the stream, what we might do is actually raid into Anna Valens. Yeah, she is currently streaming to support there's like a donation fund started by I believe is the Polygon Union to yeah, the Vox Media Union, um, to like help support
Because
folks who got laid off.
Because notably, when Valnet bought Polygon, unsurprisingly, they just so happened to, of the layoffs, laid off everyone in the union.
Hmm. Yeah, it's pretty
Every
fucked.
every person who was actually unionized there was laid off. My
Hmm.
understanding of it, at least. So yeah, just the union busting in the form of an acquisition that is way too common and they get away with way too often.
Yeah, I want to look at the
And it's also worth noting that like Valnet sucks so bad. So it was founded by the guys who founded Brazzers and Pornhub,
yeah.
which like there's nothing wrong with porn. Porn is a wonderful thing that should exist. This you make incredible adult games. The fact that what Pornhub's model was steal content from other places in order to
Hmm.
make the money for them is a problem. And so those two people then went around and bought up a ton of gaming websites. And so they're responsible for The Gamer, Collider, Comic Book Resources, Movie Web, Screen Rant, Game Rant. And if you've heard of any of these, it is probably not in great terms because
Yeah.
either they were or more likely become when Valnet purchased them, just like content mills. They just churn out like bullet list clickbait shit in order to make money for Valnet, and it is for all the complicated feelings on Polygon. Very sad to see the idea of them like hollowing out one of the few remaining games journalism institutions now that Waypoint got hollowed out by Vice and everywhere
Hmm.
else got destroyed. Just really sad to see it happen to Polygon too.
Yeah. I just found this tweet from Luke Plunkett of Aftermath. So this is Polygon's masthead yesterday. Um, as you can see, pretty robust. Good amount of
And a lot
people.
of great names on the list.
A lot of great names. A lot of great people. Uh, this is today. 8 people. Um, so they are cleaning shop presumably to. I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm going to say that AI will probably be involved in.
Yes. That's what
whatever
I
they're
would
playing
guess
for
too.
is, it it sucks. I it's interesting. I was talking about last week, and I mentioned this to you pre-stream. Uh, Anna, who we're gonna raid after the stream. I mentioned that Anna, like, I have a lot of respect for Anna, like, basically doing actual journalism work at like the hollowed out husk of Waypoint. Um, and like, I, I suppose like the one hope that I can have here is that, like, you know, ideally that there will be people who like are able to get jobs uh at these outlets, and like, because they're not being scrutinized very heavily, just like post really interesting and strange stuff. But it is no victory for anyone. That is a Hail Mary. That is not a, you know that is not a benefit in any way, shape, or form to anyone. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's unfortunate. I'm hoping that GoFundMe makes money. If you have some bucks, send some money uh, those folks' way. They're actually pretty close to their goal, um, or at least their first goal at 50K. They're at about 44K. So
Hell yeah.
yeah, I'm glad to see that's thriving pretty well. Um, and I hope those people
And
find jobs somewhere.
support worker-owned media. Something that is like really nice to see in like response to everything that's been happening is how many like new worker-owned pieces of media have been opening up. So that's
Hmm.
like when I think it was when Kotaku got destroyed. Um, they opened up
Hmm.
aftermath.site, which is a like um games, mostly I think video games industry um, uh, journal or like magazine that is owned by the people who work it. So Luke Plunkett, who you mentioned, was a co-founder. Gita Jackson, who is writing for Galactic and Going Rogue, and who like played Going Rogue with us. And Gita's character was Chali, Choli, which
Got
was
it.
Star Wars namified Charlie XCX, and how the Charlie XCX like subreddit and fandom refer to her as
Oh
Charlie
God,
with the accent,
Charlie.
and was a liberation spy who was like her cover was being a pop star, and that was like used. It was absolutely incredible. But yeah, support aftermath.site. Support Rascal in the
Yeah.
TTRPG space is worker owned. Like journalism from just an incredible set of people: Lynn Cadega, Rowan Zioli, who played Galactic with us recently, actually, which
Oh,
was
hell
very
yeah.
fun. I did like a warm up game for the AP, and for a couple people who'd never played, and uh, Rowan joined us. Who else? Chase, whose coverage of both Galactic and Going Rogue we've been incredibly grateful for. Chase Carter, and Kaylin and Thomas, I think, recently joined. Check out Rascal, you'll see them there. Fantastic. Remap Radio also, just like,
Hmm.
it is very nice that if the industry is going to be destroyed in the ways that it has, at the very least, the good of a bunch of worker cooperatives starting can happen. And yeah, they only happen if people pay for them, because they are like fully, in order to not have to suffer the same fate as these websites, they are fully reader or listener supported, which means they rely on our subscriptions. I'm a Rascal survivor. I am a Rascal subscriber, and I cannot recommend it enough.
It's really good. I Yeah, definitely give these folks some support. I definitely agree that like worker owned is seemingly a model that is working very well for a lot of folks. So it's good to see that. Okay. Um, let me see here. Did we get any mail? Aha! We got some mail.
Got a question?
Yeah. God, it's so funny. So like, a thing that happens with the Dovecote is that I have people on as guests, and then they just like start watching random episodes. Like they'll just like watch live, and then they'll be in the chat, or they'll send emails. Anyways, I have a question from Kovita, from Songs for the Dusk. Uh,
Oh yes,
yeah,
hello. Was on a panel I did at Big Bad about
yeah,
left-wing games that was partially inspired by my struggles with working on Going Rogue. So it comes full circle.
hell yeah. Um, so this is from, let's see, Jess. What's next for you in terms of subject? Sorry, I fucked that. Jess, what's next for you in terms of aesthetic and subject matter? More sci-fi and space empires in the vein of Going Rogue and Planet Fist, or do you have other directions in mind? Only going to be able to catch the first half of the episode live, but a fun listen nevertheless. I'm excited to catch up on the back half later. Kovita.
What a great question. That that is a fun question. Getting a fun question is always fun when you're taking audience questions. You never really know. What is next? The sad answer to that question is that next is I do this as a full-time job now, and I have to do the things that will economically support me, which at the moment is getting Galactic and Going Rogue into print, getting Planet Fist Faithless Edition out, getting Planet Fist into print, and getting I Have the High Ground into new print because I printed it stupid. I didn't know what I was doing. It was my first print product. I made it Rhizo printed. It costs 350 a zine to produce a run of
Oh,
600. It is it sells and doesn't make me money. And so uh my honest next 2 years will mostly be get everything that I have already done into retail stores as much as I can, and crowdfunding and business. Game design is a very small part of being a professional game designer.
mhm.
Um, but that bummer out of the way, and only so much of a bummer. It is cool to it is I should not, overlook how cool it is to be able to bring these games into the world and see them in physical editions and have so many other cool, talented people working on them,
But it's hard.
but yeah, when you wanna be, designing games.
Mhm.
Um, I do have multiple game design projects I want to be working on, and that hopefully someday I will. To answer one part of Kavita's questions, uh, they are all sci-fi. It will always be sci-fi. Maybe something will compel me one day to write something that isn't sci-fi, but it's unlikely. I As I say in most of my bios anywhere online, my work is united by two common themes: sci-fi and lesbians.
Mhm.
Um, and so, the thing that I most wish I was working on, and that I've had like, I have a couple thousand words in a Google Doc, and have been wanting to play test for a while. Um, you know that moment in a sci-fi movie where they're playing like space poker and someone bets their spaceship,
Uh-huh.
like that trope, right?
Yeah, it's good.
I want to make an entire game about that trope. And what I mean is also that I love Texas Hold'em as a game, but Texas Hold'em as a piece of game design does not work if the chips don't have value. Like, you can play it that way, but like it relies on there being a certain sense of real risk when you play. And also it means that like you can play in a way that's just like go all in and then you're out and then who cares, and you have to play until everyone's out. There's no reason to walk away from the table, and it is a game where actually the desire to walk away from the table at some point is part of the game design. And so I was like, how do I get to play Texas Hold'em and fix that design problem? And part of what I came to was that you need to feel I don't oh, and to be clear with all of this, I don't wanna bet real money. I don't wanna gamble real money. I never really wanna do that. And so how do I do that without gambling real money? And I realized there need to be stakes. There need to be emotional stakes to playing this game of Texas Hold'em. And role playing games in general, are ways of generating emotional stakes about fictional things. That's kind of what they do. And so the idea is um, that I would, or the idea is that you have items. Most notably, your spaceship, but then also like a collection of trophies, an antique blaster, I
Hmm.
have like huge, huge numbers of like lists of weird items, an alien artifact. There are like tables and tables of these unique items, and you start play with like 5 items, and then you can those items have a monetary value, and you can bet them in the game. So you have little index cards representing the items, and people can like challenge you to stake that item in place of chips. And when you stake items or when you steal items from someone, you
Hmm.
gain renown, which is the like actual like you have the chips that are money, but there's a catch up mechanic between each week so that everyone can keep playing. What you're actually trying to build is renown for like a reputation for doing well in these games by getting cool items. And as the items change hands back and forth, you um, like keep a provenance of them. You keep stapling index cards to them to see like how they've changed hands. And my hope is that in the design process, I can get people to really care about these items and especially about their ship.
Yeah.
And so they feel stakes when they go to bet these items. And so Texas Hold'em works a little bit more. Does that make sense as a pitch?
Yeah, it sounds really cool. I like that idea a lot. I like the um it's fun to think that you'll keep making little like what if this sci-fi type scene was a game? It's a good
I
it's a good tendency.
I hadn't even thought about how like yeah, it is in the I have the high ground style of like what if I took a meta narrative structure of a scene and
Hmm.
gave it a game.
It's good.
Hell yeah. I
Um,
really if I ever did that, like it would be so easy also to like turn it into a system where you just make your own tables of like items and events. Cause I was thinking there'd be
mm,
like events that happen to your items between games, and then you can put it in your own setting. Like if you want to do a James Bondy version, like it can become an engine that can be powered by ships or whatever.
mhm.
Because it is, like you pointed out, like a meta narrative structure.
Powered by the Apoco chips.
Apocalypse.
That's all I got.
Apocalypse.
Um,
Yeah.
a question from chat. I got a question from you don't meet in an N. I got a question. Would you ever take work as a crowdfunding campaign project manager on a game you didn't have a hand in designing? I'm watching you, Austin Ramsey. I know that's you. Or it's
I was
Christine.
just
It's
about to
one of
say
you two.
I was about to say I'm pretty sure you don't meet in as Austin.
Mm,
Uh, Probably not. I like to think, to toot my own horn for a moment, I like to think that I am good at crowdfunding. I also don't like doing it. Um, and I would say that if I have professional opportunities to be able to realistically support myself without taking on that work, I will probably prioritize other work. And
mhm.
also, who knows what life will throw at you? So I will say that if someone is sitting in this chat like, I'd like to pay Jess to do that work, get in touch with me and I'll see. I also hired consultants on this, so I hired Jay Dragon to consult on the crowdfunder that I'm doing for the Galactic and Going Rogue one, and so like also just someone who can give advice. I'm happy to give free advice, but if you want me to like look in detail, there's versions that aren't running a whole crowdfunder. It can also be done. What I will say is, this crowdfunder has been an experiment in. It's really interesting because I'm publishing 2 games, and Jumpgate Games is publishing Galactic and Going Rogue.
Mhm.
Jumpgate Games is just me. It is just me. It was previously a sole proprietorship. Now it's an LLC because this is a bigger project than it felt responsible to do, but it's still just me. And it's always been meant as a self publishing imprint. But now it's also publishing Riley Rethel's game Galactic. And so how it's working is that Riley and I are both co creators of the game that Jumpgate Games is publishing. And so Riley and I are paid royalties. Actually, I'm making sure that every person who works on any of the like books and products gets paid
Mhm.
royalties. But Riley and I get the majority of the creator royalties, and then Jumpgate Games gets the non-royalty profit, but takes on all of the like flat cost risk, which is me getting really into the nitty gritty. But it is to say, I am both co-creator and publisher of this game and they are different roles, and learning how to navigate that has been complicated, and I'm really not looking to become a publisher because it's not
Hmm.
a type of work that I super like. But also, who knows? There's a great J Dragon episode of I think Talk at the Table where they talk about what could happen to Possum Creek Games, and with the Steve Jackson acquisition and everything, it's just really interesting to listen back to. Games business is a tricky and complicated thing.
It's interesting. I'm still figuring out exactly how it's gonna work on Yab's end, so it's tricky. Um,
Yes.
someone, not a question but a comment from chat, from Cryolord 530. I will say I was super impressed with how cooperative the Planet Fist server was when it came to helping each other and designing stuff for the jams. It really helped me personally get the creative boost to finish my own RPG writing projects. That's lovely.
Cryo, it is good to see you. Cryo has playtested Planet Fist a number of times, and yeah, I am loath to host Discord servers for things. I'm not. I
Hmm.
decided like this was actually one of my. I was like, it would be a good business decision to create a Going Rogue, Galactic and Going Rogue Discord along with the crowdfunder. I won't do it. I'm not moderating a Discord. That's I'm drawing my line on what I will do for money, and I won't moderate a Discord. Um, and the Planet Fist Discord is kind of my exception. It's my only game to have a Discord, and I think I did it in part because Fist itself has a Discord, and the culture there was really good, and I thought I could sort of draft off of that, and I think that's been largely true. I've been really impressed by the Planet Fist Discord's culture, and Cryo, hearing you say that is like really reaffirming to me that like yeah, we did something pretty cool there, and I'm really actually excited. That once I get to return to Planet Fist and get work on getting Faithless Edition out the door to revitalize the server, do more playtesting, do some like post-launch games, and also here's another little thing that I've never talked about publicly, but my hope is that after Faithless Edition comes out, I want to do these collaborative, like, like zine submission style collections. I had a clever name for it written somewhere. I'll have to find it. But the idea of once a month, publish a free community um, contributed collection of expansion content for Planet Fist. And what I mean is that like do 1 month where everyone who wants to can submit one class item, or 1 month where everyone who wants to can submit one trait, or everyone who wants to can submit one threat. And so we just come up with these little like magazines. I think I was going to theme them as arms magazines, which
Oh,
is
that's
in
fun.
Planet Fist start. Yeah, come up with these like once a month little dispatches with something from the community, from pieces from a bunch of different people in the community. So I hope to be able to keep that creative spirit alive, and it is very reaffirming to hear that it was generative for you, and that it got you to help do things outside of Planet Fest and like finish your own RPG writing stuff. That rules. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Sorry, I just got a response on. Speaking of the logistics of making TTRPGs, I just got a response on the traffic verification thing, so I quickly responded to that. Um, I was listening though.
No
Sometimes,
problem.
sometimes I do very light. I mean, not really. I often don't do work on these streams because it would not be conducive to conversation. Um,
I know the independent creator lifestyle. Don't worry. No
yeah,
need to justify it to me.
yeah. Okay. Well, we don't have any other more mail. If folks have any questions, you can ask them in chat or send them to darlinggameandeclipse@gmail.com. I'll ask you, Jess, do you have anything that you'd like to talk about? Anything that you feel like we didn't touch on here that you'd like to chat about?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're largely good. I think anything I would have thought of I brought up beforehand. Trying to think if there's anything with Galactic and Going Rogue that I want to talk about. Um
Oh
no, I
fuck, my
think I
bird.
think I'm also your bird?
My bird,
What happened?
my male bird. There we go. Apocrypha the male bird is
Oh,
here. Uh,
Apocrypha is such a great name for a male bird.
Thank you. Yeah, there's Intrero, there's Cordis, and there's Apocrypha. Intrero is the interview bird, Cordis is the news bird, and Apocrypha is the male bird.
You do such great world building.
Thank
You
you.
um If anyone's here who's, like, knows my work but doesn't know Eclipse's, check out Sapphic World, like, the sort of world building that Eclipse can do in, like, 3 words. Eclipse was just sending me, like, something that, uh, she was working on, like, yesterday or, like, a few days ago, and just, like, 2 and 3 word items that, gave the conceptualization of an entire universe behind them were so good, you should absolutely check out Eclipse's work.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll I'll do a thing that I don't think I have my itch on my Twitch page. People should look at that. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. We got a question from Cryolord. I think we'll wrap up on that. We'll answer this question, then we'll get out of here. Um, I know this is not a very like earnest like not necessarily earnest. This is not a very like you know universal question, but you know it is the last question we'll answer. Do you have a preference for which digital market? Sorry, look. Do you have a preference for which digital marketplace you prefer putting your work on? I know it's just the preference for a lot of people.
Itch.io, and it is not even close. I
Mm-hmm.
do have some of my work on drive-through. I will be trying to list it more places because it's advantageous to me to do so, but, like, Itch supports creators for all the problems that I know some people do have with Itch reasonably.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so much better to creators than anywhere else. Like, Itch, asks for very little and lets you even turn down how much of Itch's share is. They do, like, lower share days. Places like Drive-Thru RPG, like, take a huge cut and, like,
Mm-hmm.
want you to be drive-through exclusive, or they take a larger cut, and, like, they're very, like, "If you promote elsewhere, we're not going to promote your stuff on our site." Um, yeah, just, like, Itch is so open and friendly to small developers. I always, 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 if you're gonna buy my games in PDF format, and not through a crowdfunder, Itch is always the preferred way, and it's where I prefer to host my games.
Hell yeah. Uh, I'll also shout out IPR because technically you can do digital and IPR. Um,
I kind of forgot that you do digital and IPR because, as they
but
say, no one does. But yes, they're.
yeah,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
mostly a good physical marketplace, but still very good.
Yes, Indie Press Revolution is. Yeah, I cannot say enough good things about
Mm,
them. They have, like, I have a career in part thanks to them. Like,
yeah.
after I printed I Have the High Ground, someone said I should, like, send it to IPR and be like, "Would you want to carry this?" And I did, and I did not expect a yes, and they were like, "Yeah, absolutely." And then I was like, they were like, "Can you give us more premium sets?" And I was like, "I don't know if I can. It's expensive to, like, make them. I don't know if they'll sell." And they, like, without me asking, sent me back, like, a 2-year revenue projection with a bunch of,
Wow.
like, a spreadsheet with a bunch of stuff where they were like, "Here is why we think it would be a good idea for you to do." And it's just like, I wouldn't even have known to make one of these. They just are so dedicated to helping small independent creators be able to, like, become sustainable and establish themselves in this space. So, like, Indie Press Revolution, support them, buy through them, send them your games. They are amazing.
Yeah. One thing that's really great about IPR is like they don't just like look at your like follower count or whatever. Like if you're a small creator and you send them something that like is good and like you made from your like fucking heart, they will look at it and they will decide if they want it on their storefront. And like the answer will probably be yes if it's if it's like a thing that you earnestly made that's like a cool and fun TTRPG. Uh, and I think that's lovely. I really I don't know. I think that people who are like looking to make physical RPGs, as you said, like IPR should be your first stop in terms of thinking about
Yes.
distribution.
Yeah, they, like, will actually open up your game and care about what's in it. They rule.
Yeah. Alrighty. Um, I'm gonna play. Once this is over, I'm gonna go play Interstitial 2e, uh, with some friends as Nick Valentine from Fallout 4. Uh,
Hell yeah.
yeah,
Enjoy.
it's really good. Um, Anna's still up, so we're gonna raid Anna, I think. Um,
And also, really quick, I will just plug, if you have not gone to kickstarter.com/galacticgoingrogue/ the long URL that Eclipse posted earlier, and hit the notify me button. It is truly incredibly helpful for me algorithmically and for pitching to people who could help me promote this game. For you to hit that follow me button, if you can just log into Kickstarter and hit it, I will beg. It is truly incredibly helpful to me as a creator, so it would be appreciated.
Getting there, freaks. Alright. Y'all have a good night. We're gonna raid Anna, and, I don't... Why would I put raid AC Valence into Anna's chat? I should put that into my chat. See... This is why they pay me the big bucks. Anyways, have a good night, everyone. Bye.
Remember, if you don't like what you see, you can change it. It's up to you, really. Goodbye, good luck, and have fun!